Hello. We're gonna make some cinnamon rolls today. These are my family's favorite ones that I've made. I've tried 3 or 4 different recipes, and my oldest son is very picky, and this is the only one that he has liked. So I am gonna show you how I make them. So first we're gonna start out with putting our bowl on the scale, tearing it to 0. I'm going to start with 150 grams of warm water. And I'm telling you the single recipe, but I am doing double recipe because we love them. And my parents actually, I make them a can whenever we make them too. So 150 grams of warm water for a single batch. So I'm going to do. I did a smidgen too much. Okay, I'm gonna tear to 0 again. You need about 4.5 grams of active dry yeast. So I buy this kind to use a big old thing of it, because otherwise I went through the packets like insanely, because I literally make these every weekend, at least once a weekend. I rounded up to about 5 grams of the yeast. A bit more. Okay, we're good. Okay, now gonna whisk that, and then we're gonna let it set for about 10 minutes until it is bubbly, foamy looking. So the yeast starts to develop a little bit here. Okay. All right, that's mixed. So I'm gonna set that aside, and I'm gonna wait about 10 minutes. Okay, this has been sitting about 10 minutes. So it is getting pretty foamy. So I'm gonna stick it back on my scale. And I do have all of my other ingredients all pre-measured out, but I will let you know the measurements so that you can make this too. So the first thing I'm gonna add is my sourdough discard. So we need about 57 grams of this. So I already pre-measured. I'm just gonna throw it in there, but we'll make sure it's 57. Okay. Perfect. All right. I'm gonna take my whisk again and make sure that is super mixed up. All the sourdough discard is dissolved in the liquid. Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna add in, I've pre-measured 255 grams of flour, 30 grams of white sugar, and about 3 grams of salt. So all of that is in here. Mix it in. Okay, and then we also have 1.5 tablespoons of melted butter. And I'm going to use my dough whisk to mix it up. This really is such an easy recipe compared to some of the other ones I've tried. you have to let them rise for like 6 hours, some of them. This one, I usually have to let it rise like an hour and a half, so it's not bad at all. And it's super easy ingredient-wise too, not too much to deal with. And it's very yummy. Mix it up really good. Okay, almost done. And I'm actually going to go in here with my hands just to make sure it's super mixed up. So, okay, I wet my hands so it wouldn't stick too bad to me. I'm just going to make sure it is super incorporated. Every ingredient is in there really well. No clumps of flour. It actually feels pretty good. Okay. Okay, it's nice and mixed, so I am going to pick up the dough ball and I'm going to spray some cooking spray on the inside of the bowl. And I am going to wet my hand a little bit more here. Okay, make this into, ooh, it's super sticky, into a ball. There we go. Really, it's not that sticky. It's tacky. And this is about the consistency that you want. So after you get it into a ballish shape, you just stick it back in the bowl, cover it up, and then you let it rise for an hour, hour and a half. I usually do it usually only takes an hour. It's supposed to double. So after it doubles, then we'll come back and roll out and add the cinnamon sugar and cut, and almost done. Okay, our cinnamon roll dough has officially doubled. It got huge. Okay, so I actually need to halve this because remember I made double the recipe. So I want to make sure I make it pretty even to put into the pans. So I'm going to weigh it just to see how much it is. So 500, and then I'll grab half out. That's pretty good. Okay, so I put cooking spray down on the counter, and then I just spread this out into a rectangular shape. Okay. That's pretty good. And then I have 1 tablespoon or 14 grams of butter, and I melted it. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to spread it on with my pastry brush. Okay. And then I mixed together 75 grams of white sugar and 4 grams of ground cinnamon. So I made this mixture, and I'm just going to spread it across the dough. Okay. It's looking pretty good. Okay. Now I'm gonna roll it from the side, the short side. I'm just gonna roll it up. Just like that. Okay. Like kind of pinch the end to the dough so none of the cinnamon, well, some of the cinnamon still comes out, but at least it keeps it a little less messy if I pinch it closed. Okay, and then I get a knife of my, okay, and I cut it into even sections, or as even as I can. So this is supposed to make about 6 rolls. So cut it in half and then cut it 2 more times on each side. Make 6. Okay. And then I have these pie pans, disposable pie pans. I've already sprayed them with the cooking spray. And I'll just take the cinnamon rolls and place them in the tray. And sometimes I might have to, like this one looks like it needs to be rolled a little bit more, so I'm just gonna pull it a little bit. Little bit. Okay. Last one. Like that. Okay. Now let these sit out. I usually do like 15 minutes and they just get a little puffed. At that time you can bake them, but I will typically make these at night and then bake them in the morning. So I'll just cover them and then stick them in the fridge and then we'll bake them in the morning. So I'll show you that whole process tomorrow morning. Okay, we're ready to bake. So we have preheated the oven to 400 degrees. So I will take the plastic off of these. Thank you, assistant. And we will stick them in there. They should bake for 16 to 18 minutes, and I usually do the full 18 minutes. But look how much this puffed up. They're beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna stick them in the oven, and then we'll start making the icing. Okay, we have all of our ingredients ready and pre-measured out to make our icing for our cinnamon rolls. So the first thing we have is cream cheese. So the recipe calls for 56 grams of cream cheese. This one isn't a huge fan of cream cheese icing, so we actually end up doing less of that for ours, but it does call for 56 grams of cream cheese. Okay. And then we have 3 tablespoons of melted butter. Okay. And then we have 1 gram of vanilla extract. Okay, now we're going to mix this up. Oh, turn it on. Good. All right, that is looking pretty good. Can you start off, baby? Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to add our powdered sugar and salt. So this calls for 130 grams of powdered sugar. almost there. It'll be perfect timing for when this is done. Perfect. Okay. Okay, and then hold on, we're gonna do a pinch of salt. So I'm just gonna throw a little salt in there. Okay, and now yes, we're gonna mix it up, and then we're all done.
When did I ever like salt?
Salt is in like everything. Okay. And then once that is mostly mixed, we're gonna add in 15 grams of milk. Just helps it get a little more creamy. Ooh, it's looking yum. All right. Perfect.
I like these.
Those with you. Go over there, baby. Okay, now though the cinnamon rolls have about a little under 2 minutes left, and then once they come out, I will let them rest for 10 to 15 minutes just so they're not too hot before I put the icing on. But then we'll put this yummy icing on, and they'll be ready to eat for my family this morning. Okay, they are all out of the oven and looking super yummy. They smell so good. I wish I had like smell-o-vision. That smells so good. Okay, so we're gonna put the icing on them. Split that in half. Plop it in the middle. Okay, and spread them out. This looks so yummy. Okay, that's about done. Okay. Looking pretty good. Okay. Get all that goodness off the spatula and onto those. And they are all done. Our homemade cinnamon rolls.